it makes you feel that sales is actually just at one point in time, and there's a before and an after. In reality, as you know, as many of your listeners know, sale is happening all the time.
Today, we're talking about something that quietly decides whether complex deals move forward or fall apart, my lovely people. Not the product, not the price, but how well the people around the deal actually work together. My guest today has spent years operating right in the middle of that reality, leading sales teams, technical teams, and delivery teams in some of the most complex customer environments out there. He's seen what happens when roles operate in silos and what becomes possible when commercial, technical, and delivery teams truly move as one. We are going to unpack in this fabulous episode what real alignment looks like inside complex B2B deals, how leaders make it work at scale, and what changes when teams stop protecting their lanes and start owning the outcomes together. My guest today is Bassem Salameh from Ericsson. He's the head of Network North Europe. Bassem, welcome to the B2B Sales Trends podcast.
Thank you, Harry, and thank you for inviting me for it.
Pleasure to have you on. I hope I pronounced your surname correctly.
Absolutely right. You nailed it.
Good. Bassem, you've led both sales organizations and teams that sit closer to pre-sales and delivery in the past. Before we go a little bit deeper, give us a short version of your role today and how your teams show up across the customer journey.
Very good. So today my title is Head of Network. In the telecommunication industry, network for us in this case is what we call radio. So my team delivers and creates the solutions for the radio piece in the telecommunication industry. If I want to take a step back, you will look at, we have a pre-sales function. That pre-sales function, actually, they are shaping up the solution. And we have a post-sales function. That post-sales function deliver, optimize, and support the solutions that we've just sold.
Right.
And this is my remit today. This is my responsibility, the pre-sales and the post-sales. At the same time, Harry, I don't like to call them like that because it makes you feel that sales is actually just at one point in time and there's a before and an after. In reality, as you know, as many of your listeners know, sale is happening all the time. So it's not a pre-sales and a post-sales. During your pre-sales phase, you are actually selling, you're shaping up the solution, you're making sure that your end customer is choosing the product that you have. And during the delivery, if you fail in your delivery, that customer will never buy from you again. So you're actually selling during the delivery. That's why for me, I don't call them pre-sales and post-sales. I call them my technical team and my delivery team.
Love it. Thank you for that introduction. From what you've seen, Bassem, where do things break down most often sort of during the whole sales process? What have you seen there? Why do things break down during the process?
So the obvious answer, I would give you 4 reasons. Reason number 1 is a technical solution does not fit. Reason number 2 is your delivery model does not fit or your delivery capabilities is not what the customer is expecting from you. Reason number 3 is commercial. Your pricing are too high or your competitors are better than you from a commercial perspective. And reason number 4, which we don't always speak about enough, is terms and conditions. So those are the obvious 4 reasons. The main thing that is in the background that makes this break is miscommunication. Is that you don't explain well the solution you have or what you're trying to help the customer with and give, or the customer is not explaining well enough what are his needs. And if you have a break in that communication, this is like the one thing that will directly kill your sales opportunity.
Right. And that's interesting. So you've touched already on, multiple roles are involved in a deal, commercial, technical, delivery, and so forth. You talked about that miscommunication and that misalignment. What happens, or I'm going to rephrase the question, what's at risk here if they're not truly aligned?
So let's start with an internal way, because there's a miscommunication between you and the customer, and that can break quite a lot your sales. But there's also an internal miscommunication. So that means if your technical person looks at the deal in a different way than your commercial person or your delivery person. We can take one example if you like, Harry. Give any solution to the technical people and let them go with it. They will always, because they are proud of their product, they will always go with the best of the best of the best they have. Right. They will over-dimension, they will try to give you the best because they are technical and they are proud of what they have. Now, that over-dimension is not what the customer needs, which will mean, very logically, your price will be inflated.
Right.
And in this case, you've just lost the deal because you have put an offer that is completely outside of the budget of your customer. And this is where that internal communication between the commercial team, the technical team, and the delivery team is very important to understand what is the right requirements for the customer and for your own company.
Interesting. Okay. And so obviously that risk is makes a difference if you win a deal or not win a deal, and that needs alignment. I think is what you've shared is really, really key with these opportunities. Now, you've described a way of working where these different functions, sales, tech, delivery, stays tightly connected through an opportunity. I know you've touched a little bit on that already, but walk us more through in details through how these roles should be interacting when you want things to go well. You said one of the issues is miscommunication. Walk us through how those roles interact when things are going well.
At least in the company where I work, and I guess I've heard about it as well in the industry overall, we do what we call a core 3 team. And the core 3 team, I want you to look at it as being like a triangle that keeps on just turning around. The axis of that triangle is moving. And those 3 points in the triangle are your technical lead, your commercial lead, and your delivery lead. Mm-hmm. And the way we look into that in phases, if you want. The first phase is when you start to have that new product, that item that you want to go and sell. This is when the technical lead is leading that triangle. He's the main focus point. He's going there, presenting it to the customer, explaining the benefit of it, and with the help of the commercial guy, starting to create a return on investment for the customer on it. So that's your first part. Now, then the customer comes and say, actually, you know what? I am interested in that product. He either come and speak with you directly or he goes through an RFQ. That's your really heavy sales part. At that point in time, your commercial person is in the lead. He's defining to the other 2 people with him what are the priorities? What is the strategical view here? Where do we want to end up? What is our end game? Once that's done, now you need to deliver. And at that point in time, your delivery person is the lead in that core 3. And you don't want him just to go and deliver and not keep speaking with your commercial and technical person, because in that phase, you're creating what we call add-on sales, but you're also learning about new needs for the customer, new things that you're facing. And that delivery person needs to go back and feed back to the system. He needs to tell the commercial person and technical person what he's facing. So the way we do it, we actually have a weekly meeting with that core 3. And depending where you are in the sales process, you have somebody leading the others in that discussion.
Yeah, So that alignment is really key along those three. I love that description, and I really like that triangle you've described. Hey, a quick pause here, because if you're leading a sales team right now, you will want to hear this. We've just released our new report, the 26 sales trends for 2026. It's pulled from the conversations we've had with senior leaders on this very podcast. The themes, the shifts, and the realities shaping how customers buy and how teams need to sell in the new year. It's practical, it's concise, and it's built to help you make better decisions faster. You can download it for free at the link in this description box or at globalperformancegroup.com. Now, let's get back to the conversation. It's a really good one. You know, at different stages of a deal, early exploration, commercial negotiation in a way, and delivery, how does leadership shift across those roles without creating too much confusion or friction in an opportunity?
For me, it starts with a clear account strategy.
Mm-hmm.
And that has to happen way before you start engaging with your customer.
Right.
You need to sit within that account, understand the customer, understand what are his needs.
Right.
Look at what you have overall in your company that can fit the customer needs and create an account strategy. That already, it's a leadership that helps everybody in the team understand where they are going. So that's point one. Point two, it's a cultural thing. And I think culture is super important in a way that if, let's say, the sales team are the P&L owners at the end of the day, and if they are feeling that they are the driver in this organization, and they consider that the technical team and the delivery team are supporting functions, it doesn't mean that the technical team and delivery team are any less because they are just a supporting function and they are not the P&L owner. This is the role of the leader of the sales organization, to make sure that his supporting function are part of his team, are part of the culture of this team, and they feel part of the team. They feel that they are all driving towards that success of this account. So that becomes super important, Harry, on us as leaders, to make sure that we are quite engulfing everybody and bringing them with us on that journey.
Does it help when across those teams they speak the same language, have the same sort of planning approach and a clear strategy? Obviously, you've alluded to that already, but does it help when they speak the same language? And I'm not saying German or French or anything else, but you know what I mean, the same method.
Nonetheless, the same language also helps.
Yeah.
I cannot tell you how many stories because of having a second language in there.
Right.
Yes, which means sometimes, and if you want to look at it, a big part of a human being language is also his salary and bonuses. So having the same type of targets, and even it can be not always a monetary target, but a target about your performance connected to the same end goal, that can make a big difference in having those teams working well together and being closer to each other.
Yeah.
At least this is what I have experienced, Harry.
Yeah, no, I fully agree. That does help a lot. You know, the other topic that comes to mind.
Tell me your view now. I'm interested to listen to you.
No, sure. This is, I'm interviewing you here, though. You know, so when team members and maybe a technical, commercial. Let's stick with the technical people here.
Yeah.
When they have to engage with stakeholders that they're not usually comfortable with.
Yes.
That's what we see all the time. For example, technical leaders talking to commercial people have to be talking to commercial impact, or sales engaging deep in technical detail, for example, would be the other thing. What helps them build that confidence, in your opinion?
All right, I'll take it from both sides, from a
Right.
technical perspective, and then
Yep.
I'll give you my personal experience from a sales perspective,
Yeah.
speaking with CTOs. So let's start from a technical perspective. Exposing them early to commercial is a must.
Yeah.
And that's why in my team, I keep on repeating a word, techno-commercial. I want every person in my team to have a techno-commercial mind, which means having to be intrigued, to try
Yeah.
to understand if I give this type of product instead of that type of product,
Yeah.
what does it mean commercially? Is
Right.
that better for my company? Is that better for the customer? Return on investment? Does that make a business sense for both us and them? So these type of question, I want my technical team to ask, to
Yeah.
be there, and to work really hand in hand with our commercial team to create that. Now, the other way around, um, I was in sales, like you've said, and I was a key account manager, and I had to interface with CTOs of very big organizations, CTOs that were technology-wise, I would say, ahead of me.
Right.
Uh, prepare, prepare, prepare. That's what I used to tell
Right.
my team. I would sit with my team and I would tell them, okay, take me through it. And then I would put myself in the shoes of the CTO and
Right.
start asking them questions. Okay, what if he asked me this? What
Uh-huh.
then is our answer to that? And what if he asks me this? It's a bit like a chess game. You need to read 2, 3 steps ahead, and you need to be ready to show the customer that you understand him, but also to give him trust. So preparation is key. We should not underestimate preparation.
That's so interesting because where does confidence come from? We always ask for, how do we give our people, salespeople and technical people, how do we give them confidence to engage with different stakeholders? Well, confidence is not something that falls out of the sky. Confidence is earned, in my opinion.
Yes.
How do you earn that? You earn that through relentless practice. You
Yes.
you earn that through, as to quote you, preparation, preparation, preparation. And that eventually will give you the confidence to engage on that senior level, and especially you've had a good example here where you said that you were playing the CTO and you basically poked holes in what they did and asked them a lot of questions. But then, in a way, that practice gave them confidence then to, when the question actually comes from the CTO, it's a case of, thank you, I've been expecting you, in the words of Robbie Williams, right? I don't know what to do now, and how do I now answer that? So I think it comes down to, these days everybody knows what they have to do, right? The what is one thing. It's all knowledge and it's easy to consume, but the how people are doing it, how are they executing that types of conversation? How are they asking the types of questions that generate new needs? How are they really engaging that senior level buyer? Not how good we are, not how great Ericsson is, not how great the product is, and so forth, but really on the outcomes that they can help the CTO achieve. And in a way, what's the problem if you don't achieve that outcome, and sort of create
Yes.
that urgency from a cost of inaction perspective? I think that's a really interesting play in that sort of, that when we talk about comfort zones and confidence and all these aspects to a sales conversation.
Absolutely. Also, I've listened to one of your podcasts. Was one, I think it was like 3 podcasts ago. A
Okay.
lady spoke a lot about preparation. And
Yeah.
I thought it was an eye opener. And I would recommend anybody listening to us today to go back and listen to that podcast.
Well, thank you for listening to the podcast for that episode. So we appreciate you mentioning that. Absolutely. Let's get back to the topic a little bit around execution.
Yeah.
So let's talk about scaling alignment at size. It's one thing to model this behavior on a personal level, right? I'm sure you have great people who do these or execute these behaviors really, really well. But it's another thing to really scale it across hundreds and hundreds of people. When organizations grow, where does collaboration most often start to break down, in your opinion?
Communication again.
Yeah, back to that.
So I didn't realize early on that I would say something and I would think that, I've just said it. Everybody has understood it. Let's
Right.
move. I underestimated how important it was to repeat the message and repeat the message and then repeat the message one more time. And today I've changed my communication style quite a lot in order to make sure that I'm having those messages through the whole organization. We are speaking about a very big organization here, Harry, where we have managers of managers. And I do that via a few things. I do my own leadership team, of course.
Yeah.
But then I do what I call an extended leadership team, where I have all the managers in a room sitting together and speaking about it. We do our all-employee meeting, which I guess everybody does. But on top of that, I've done two different things. What we call, we have a tool, I don't know if other companies have, it's called Viva Engage, which is, if you want, like your Instagram or Facebook of your own team.
Right.
And what I've constantly did in the last few years is every Friday, a 2 to 3 minute video message, where I'm telling them what we've achieved and what are the next steps. And what do we want to achieve? So this message of going through to the whole organization, the 600 plus people that we have in this team. And finally is, while I am sending the message, I also want to listen into what they are telling me. There should be a way back to take, to review, to think about how they are seeing things, and are they being affected by the message we're giving, or maybe there are things that we're missing. So once a month, I spend an hour with 6 people from my organization that are not directly reporting to me or reporting into even my managers, where we sit and we just have a coffee and talk, and we try to speak about what we're facing as an organization. What are the things that are getting through, what is not getting through, and how can we improve? And that's why communication downwards and upwards are really important in a case like that.
I love it. I think that's a really cool idea, and that's something that our leadership listeners definitely can take away with. How do you understand really the issues from different departments, different business units, different verticals, and how are they dealing with that? So sort of that exchange of challenges and how you tackle those, and they may not be exactly in the same vertical, but it will really help people to also see and learn for themselves, and especially those leaders. I think that's a great idea.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. That's really good. That's really cool. Let's still talk a little bit about the leaders on your team. You have a large team, as we know. When you look at teams based on your experience, yours and others that you have seen,
yes,
those teams that truly operate as one unit, what do leaders do differently on a day-to-day basis that others underestimate? You mentioned a couple of things already about sharing messages periodically, but so forth. Any other things what leaders do differently day to day?
I will summarize them in three points, and I think we've touched all 3 of them, but maybe in different places.
Right.
A clear strategy, and clear communication,
Yep.
and making everybody feel part of the team. I think those three are necessary for this to happen.
So agree upon the strategy, or clear communication of the strategy, and have inclusion, include everybody and free them up in a way to contribute.
Exactly. So let's say you decide on one thing. As a leader, you decide on one thing. You clearly explain the why. Why did you take that decision? So people understand that there was a thought process behind it.
Right.
They might agree, they might disagree, but at least they understand there's a thought process behind it. It's not an aleatory decision. The how will you do it?
Yeah.
And that's very important. And the what if we don't hit the how? So how are we gonna change that what if? So be clear with the decision, be clear with the KPIs, and as you go along, show them where you are versus those KPIs and if you do need to shift or not. So those would be the three things that I would always do with my team.
Do you have sometimes people in teams that don't contribute? And let me give you some context on my questions here, on my question here. We work a lot with organizations who do great things with their teams, sales teams, technical teams, commercial teams, delivery teams, and so forth. Great. Okay, that's good. Sometimes we hear the challenge that implementing a culture of contribution is an issue. Now, what does that mean? In some instances, there are organizations where people, especially after COVID, that was a big issue. When people didn't feel included, they couldn't be contributing. Therefore, they weren't part of the innovation and collaboration process. And for one of the terms that we use a lot of the times is they didn't constructively challenge issues. They didn't constructively challenge topics. They didn't feel like they could speak up to the difficult issues. I'm not suggesting that that's the case in your organization. Have you seen other teams sometimes dealing with that same issue, and how did they do that? How did they tackle that?
I think at one point in time you spoke about confidence in our discussion today.
Right.
And that confidence comes from imposter syndrome. Right. Many of our employees have that imposter syndrome. They believe they are maybe not good enough to be in the place where they are. Right. And this is why they go into their shell and are in their comfort zone, and they stop trying to challenge us back. Working on the employees by asking them open question, helping them speak, even if they were not ready to speak. Give them an open question, give them time, let them speak. That will start building their confidence little by little and thinking, this guy is actually listening to me.
Right.
So I can speak up a bit more next time and a bit more next time. Harry, it's something I faced personally. When I was in my early 30s, I started working, I'm going to be giving you a clear example, with a German account. And as a person, I'm an introvert who wasn't comfortable speaking up. And around me, there was Germans and Dutch people who were quite vocal, very passionate about what they are saying. Everybody's throwing out ideas, and I wouldn't speak up, even though many times I felt that actually maybe I have a solution, but I felt like it's impolite to speak up. I'm out of my zone. I'm so much younger than these guys. Until one manager came to me, my manager came to me, put his hand on my shoulder and told me, I know you have good ideas. I want to hear them. And that was such a confidence boost. And since then, I've tried to do the same. And maybe not everybody will just be happy by their manager telling them, you have to say them. Ask them that open question. Let them feel they are able to talk. And it helps. And then you have others that maybe they don't want to, and they are good in their comfort zone. I don't know, like you don't need all the time strikers in your team. You also need strong experts in the small domains that they do, and you want them to deliver on that small things that they do. And if they are the expert in it, the best in it, okay, you can be sometimes happy with that as well.
Yeah. That's a very interesting topic, and I think you're spot on. Leaders need to provide a platform. They need to provide a platform where all team members are comfortable of speaking up. Everybody to contribute to the problem solving topic versus hiding away behind things. I think that's really important. But those leaders need to live that confidence. They need to live these listening behaviors, these inviting constructive opinions. That's really, really important. I really like what you said. Absolutely. Bassem, give me, and I know we've talked about the 3 capabilities already in terms of agree to the strategy, clear communication, make everybody inclusive on the team. In your opinion, this is the question we ask on every single podcast now, the last 100 episodes already, is what, in your opinion, are the top 3 skills and behaviors that salespeople need to execute to perfection nowadays? What are those top 3 things, in your opinion, skills and behaviors that salespeople need to possess nowadays?
All right. Listen to your customer.
Yep.
That's mandatory, because if you're not listening, if you're only focusing on what you're doing, there's going to be miscommunication.
Right.
Listen to your customer. Be on top of your numbers. Like really be on top of your numbers. Harry, I can see people that I saw yesterday and I can forget their names. But if you ask me about a deal I did 10 years ago, I can exactly tell you the numbers I've done.
Love it.
And then I'm going to keep on repeating, be inclusive, use the width of your team.
Right.
You cannot be a superstar all by yourself. You don't have all the knowledge.
Love it. Love it. Be inclusive, be on the top of your numbers, and listen to your customers. That's the top 3 from Bassem here exclusively, my lovely people. Are you up for a quick fire round? 3 questions that I'm going to ask you quickly. Good. Tell me one habit every cross-functional leader should build.
Oh, I'm going to repeat listening. I know I've said it for the sales, but it works here. You have to listen to everybody. You have to take time and think about what others are telling you, because otherwise you will fail. Listening is important for me right now. That's the one habit I'm forcing myself all the time to do.
Great. Something most people underestimate about collaboration at scale. What would that be?
Simple words. I hate it when leaders start using those big, difficult words that you don't understand what it actually means and where it should take you. You really use simple words, get the people with you on that journey so they understand what you want from them.
That's why we get on so well, you and me. I'm exactly the same. Just use simple words, right? Straightforward communication. I'm fully with you. Last question for you for today is one word to describe the future of complex B2B selling. What would that be?
B2B. Okay. Look, the risk for B2B selling, because it's not human, it's really enterprise, is that one day we will all be replaced with AI. That's a risk. So there's an AI who, for example, in the telecommunication world, goes and look what the network really needs, and there's an AI from my side who tells him how to do that. That's a big, like, this is where it can go for a B2B sales, because there's no B2C. It's not a human being. It's just about business facts. I need this much input. I have this much output at that thing. Until we get there, put the right person in the right place.
Yeah, right. Absolutely. Bassem, you've been an amazing guest on today's episode. Thank you for your time. I know our listeners very much appreciate your insights and thought leadership. Thank you for taking the time.
I really, really enjoyed this, Harry, and I wish you all the luck in your future ones. And I'm gonna stay listening to your podcasts, which are really interesting.
Fabulous. Thank you, Bassem. My lovely people, one thing that stayed with me from this conversation is how little deal performance is about pushing harder and how much it comes down to how people work together behind the scenes. When sales, technical teams, and delivery are underlined, you have an issue. Even strong opportunities stall. And when they are aligned, as Bassem said, momentum takes care of itself. That's what today's conversation was really about, not theory, but the practical reality of leading teams who have to win together in these difficult and complex environments nowadays. My lovely people, thanks for listening to another episode of the B2B Sales Trends podcast. If this episode was useful, share it with someone on your team who is living this every day. You can find more insights, tools, and episodes at b2bsalestrends.com and our YouTube channel, B2B Sales Trends Podcast. Until the next time, look after yourself, look after your loved ones, and of course, your B2B customers. Bye-bye. If you'd like to put yourself or someone you know forward to be a guest on our show, there is a quick form in the show notes to complete. It only takes a minute, and it helps us to find voices and opinions that shape the future of B2B selling. Thank you. We appreciate it.